Okay, so in this presentation, these are the topics that I'll be looking at. What is youthful vibrancy? How family helps the youth, the Jesus Youth family. We'll be going into one aspect of that, eldering. Oh, yep, we're not up. How youth help the family, one aspect of that. And drawing, what it means to draw youthful vibrancy from the church, and what it means to draw familyness from the church. I invented that word for this. So what is vibrancy? I thought that it would be helpful to have a reflection on what vibrancy really means. So is it captivating dramatics, fiery speeches, soaring electric guitars, and action songs? These might be some of the things commonly attributed to vibrancy. But I think as Jesus Youth, as a spiritual movement, we need to have a deeper reflection. The only kind of vibrancy that we should be interested in, I believe, is the kind of vibrancy whereby we can say that Jesus Christ is the most vibrant man to have ever walked the face of the earth. So if we say that soaring electric guitars determines vibrancy, Jesus didn't have any electric guitars, and he probably didn't know many action songs. So we need a deeper reflection. So we can start by saying that God is vibrant. He's vibrant because he's lively, because he's life itself. And the love between the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit is not something mundane and boring. It's lively, powerful, and creative. And the whole universe, all that we see, both the seen and unseen, were created as an expression of this lively love. And also we know that God is never idle, because if he were to become idle for one moment, everything would disappear into nothingness, because he's the creator and the sustainer. So in one of the presentations yesterday, we also heard that man was unlike the animals. The second pattern of creation, I believe it's called. And God breathed life into his nostrils. So man wasn't just endowed with natural life, but supernatural life. That's God's own life. So in a very real sense, man participates in God's vibrancy. So if you think back at the creation story, God didn't place man into the world to be idle. He said, cultivate the earth and subdue it. Be fruitful and multiply. In other words, express this communion that you share with me in all kinds of creative expression, building up human society and bringing it to order. Any person who comes in communion with God participates in his vibrancy. We see that in the lives of the saints. It's in this sense that we say that Jesus is the most vibrant man, because he says, I and the Father are one, perfect communion with the Father. And he remains our model of what authentic vibrancy is. So what is authentic vibrancy? It's any expression that really originates from a soul that's in communion with God. So if vibrancy is really just communion with God, why do we say that vibrancy belongs to the youth? I would say that it's the imperfection of human expression. Some of our elders, they're weakened in their bodies and emotions and things, so though they have the vibrancy inside, it doesn't perfectly express in their body quite as well as it does in youth. For example, Sindhu Chechi, most of the time she does her ministry with a neck brace on, if you see her in the US. So that's just one example. And Manoj Chetan, every time I see him, he's down with a chest infection. But the youth have strength in body, they become passionate, and their minds are fertile and questioning. So the vibrancy can really resonate and unfold in beautiful expressions. I didn't list many expressions here, but maybe some of them. So moving on, how does the family help the youth? One aspect which we'll go into is the elders. I think we all know very well in Jesus Youth that no matter how vibrant a young person is, without eldering, without the support of the Jesus Youth family, he will not survive. So I think the main, or at least one of the main things that elders give to a young person is passing down the JY traditions, maybe as a set of ideals. So here are some of them: spirit of spontaneously coming together for prayer, what's the nature of Jesus Youth mission, and what kind of commitment is needed for it, obedience to the church, submission to the family, and so on. And the other aspect is personal formation. So I think in Jesus Youth we have a tremendous amount of human formation. Several people have commented in previous papers about the good manners of Jesus Youth and their behavior in general. it's largely because of this intergenerational advantage. I don't think we often realize how challenging it is for a young person in today's world to live by the gospel values because he has no model. For example, a young person says, I want to be a Christian professional. What's his model? He has to figure out everything for himself, and that's strenuous, tiring, time-consuming. But here we have the example of people from other generations who have set the model for us. So that helps in choosing careers and so on, and also choosing your spouse and so on.